So let's continue our discussion on S3. Any questions before starting? No?
Just one small thing.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a very huge file in, let's say, client input.
Okay.
And you want to download it to your machine.
Okay.
Can we use any of these concepts previously?
Only for downloading?
Yeah, I have a huge file.
Okay.
I can't use Dropbox because it's 5 GB, 10 GB.
Right. Right.
And, so somehow I need to download it to my machine.
Okay.
Will S3 concept anywhere will help me with that?
See, what are you put in S3 that you can download?
So which means client has to have an account in Amazon. He has to upload it to S3.
Yes.
So you said 5 TB or something.
Correct.
So that means 10 GB is not enough. So
Obviously.
Client can upload that file to his account.
Yes.
And I should be able to download.
Definitely yes. Yes. See, the end user is not going to directly use S3. See, the end user, he doesn't, why he should create Amazon account and why he should create S3 bucket and store it. See, the idea here is it's a platform. It's not software as a service, I can say. It's a kind of platform. On top of it, we can put a wrapper. So you provide some good UI, user interface, in front of S3. The end user will be talking to your interface, your software, the back end, right? You might be leveraging S3 as a storage there.
But the example that I'm giving is just one time actually.
Yeah, to answer your question, you can store, you can upload 5 TB file, you can also download 5 TB file. Yes. Maybe Dropbox is putting some restrictions in its layer, whatever. So if it is more than 2 GB, it's not saying I cannot upload this. But still, this S3 supports. But Dropbox is putting a restriction saying maybe 2 GB is the max file size. Maybe in free account, they might be restricting that kind of things. Yeah, we have seen how to upload a file. We have seen how to create a folder, and again how to upload data into that, files into that folder, right? So likewise, we also can delete it. And don't think the end user will be using this console. So we, as someone developing a software, right? They are going to leverage this one. So I'm not going to tell my end user, this is my S3 account, put your files there. No, that's not the point. So we extend this functionality. We build something on top of it. Yeah, if you want to delete a file, a folder, select that, action, delete. As simple as that one. So if you want to make it public, just right click, make it public. So by default, the files are private. By default, the files are private. Even I have shown how to choose that storage class, right? One is standard, infrequently accessed, reduce redundancy. So when you upload a file, you have an option to specify which storage class it should get into. So those things are there. Even there is a concept called as encryption, security. Let me show that for you. Let's say upload. Let me select a file. Let me select some file like this. In the set details, we can choose the storage type. If I don't, it is the standard one which maintains 3 copies, high durability, high availability. So there is an option saying server side encryption. Correct. So if you want to encrypt the data, see, when you download a file, when you upload a file, it is always encrypted. So forget about that. So encryption is always there in transit. You're uploading a file from my computer. I'm sending a file to S3, which is going via network, right? That's always encrypted. Even if I download, when it comes via network, while coming via network, it's again encrypted, and it will be decrypted for me kind of. I want to encrypt my file even on the rest, even when I store it on that S3. Then we have an option to say use server side encryption. So one option is when you upload a file on your S3, the data is encrypted and stored. That is called as on rest. On rest. Even if someone steals the disk, right, they may not be able to decrypt it. So that's the idea behind encryption. There are two options here. One is client no need to provide any key. When he downloads, he will get that. If he has a permission, right? When he downloads, he gets the file and he will see the file. And there is one more option, use an AWS key management service. So all the stuff is there. It says S3 will decrypt the object for anyone with permissions to access. So in this case, right, if they have permissions, it will be decrypted kind of. So now say start upload. Even on rest, your file is encrypted. Not only in the transit, even on rest, the file is encrypted. So those are the things. So as I said, we can create file, but it's not a file system. We can create a folder, it's not a file system. So internally, if I say folder, that's nothing but a file name prefixed with that. So everything resides on the same level actually. There is no hierarchy. If I say courses.devops, the courses slash DevOps becomes a file name actually. If I say courses slash AWS, the courses slash AWS becomes a file name. That courses doesn't, it's not a folder actually. It becomes a kind of file name. So next one. Versioning. Versioning. If I delete a file, I won't get it back. There is a file on S3. If I delete it, I won't get it back. So there is a concept called as versioning, meaning I can upload same file again and again. It maintains different versions of that. For example, I mean, even we get access to the previous versions. That's one advantage. Let's say someone accidentally deleted a file, still I can restore it. So this one. So one is permissions, right? So by default, it is private, accessible only for you. The other one is we can make it public. So those things we discussed. The next one is I'll show the static website hosting later. Versioning. Versioning. Yeah, what it does now. See, when we upload same file again and again with a different content, so it maintains all the versions of that file in S3. Take that point. See, versioning enables point number one. Versioning enable to maintain different versions of a same file. See, by default, versioning is disabled. By default, there won't be versioning. By default, versioning is disabled. Right? So if you enable it, if you want to enable it, you have to come here and enable it. And once the versioning is enabled, you cannot disable. You can only just say suspend. Next point. See this one. When I click enable versioning, right? See now versioning is enabled. Let me try to upload a same file multiple times, I'll show the different versions of that file. See, there is no option to stop versioning. We can or disable versioning. Correct? We can only suspend. Meaning, whatever versions you have, right, that will be still there. For the new files, it won't create versions. But for the existing files, it still maintains those versions there. Next point. We cannot disable versioning once it is enabled. We cannot disable versioning once it is enabled. We can only suspend. We can only suspend. Let's create a simple text file and let's try to modify that file. Let's try to upload it. It can be any file there for that matter. See, as of now, versioning is enabled, right? Can you see this one? Versions. By default, it is hide. You can also say show. But as of now, there is only one version for every file. Or you can say hide. Let me upload Amazon Web Services.pdf one more time. Of course, it's the same file, I'm not modifying, but what it does now, it creates one more entry of that. So it maintains two PDF files with different versions. It's done. See, we uploaded this guy one more time. It's still not there. See that? Two versions are there. So initially version was not enabled. That time the version ID was null. Now version is enabled, right? So it's associated with some version ID here. Version ID. So we have two versions. So what's the advantage of this? So if you want to roll back to a previous version, we have an option. Let's say someone accidentally deleted a file. We can restore that one. See this? Let's say this is a file. Someone overwritten it or someone deleted it. Let's say some person or someone deleted this file. The file is gone, right? That's not shown now. If you go and check the version, see, can you see this? This is the initial version. This is the one which we uploaded, and this is the one which is deleted. So what it does, it just puts a delete marker there, saying this file is deleted. Don't display here. File is still there in the S3, but there is a delete marker. Because of that, that file is not displayed in the list. So let's say I want to restore it. So I accidentally deleted it. I want to restore it. The option is delete this delete marker. Whatever latest version, what it says, this file is deleted. So remove this guy. And come back, you restored it. You restored it, right? And let us say there is 5 GB file, a 5 GB video file. Okay, there is a slight change to this video file. They added some 10 frames extra, and I'm uploading it again. What happens now? It maintains two copies, right? So it maintains two copies actually. So one is 5 GB, the other one is also 5 GB plus 10 frames. It's not what I mean to say is, if you are maintaining a 5 GB file with different versions, each file is going to occupy 5 GB itself. It's not like initially we had 5 GB, now we are adding 1 GB. The latest version maintains only 1 GB. No, it maintains again 5 plus 1 GB, 6 GB. So you have to think of it. The architect should think of it. So when they are enabling versioning, right, they should really think, is it worth enabling it?
You want to delete content?
Delete all the markers there. So delete all the versions, it will be deleted. Fine. Right. So next one. Next one. Life cycle. So one is versioning. Once enabled, we cannot disable. We can only suspend it. We can only suspend it.
Watching only for that client.
Complete bucket. Complete bucket. So life cycle. See this one. What's the idea behind life cycle? Let's say versioning is enabled. So I'm maintaining version 1, version 2, version 3 kind of. Right? Let's say I have 3 versions now. So all 3 versions are maintained in your standard storage class. So it costs more, right? Using lifecycle, what we can do is we can transfer those things into a different storage class actually. Let's say the older versions I want to move into Glacier or infrequently accessed, kind of. See, life cycle rules enable you to automatically transition objects to a standard infrequently accessed or some other cheap storage classes actually. Take this point there. Yeah, life cycle rules enable you to automatically transition enables you to automatically enables this one automatically transition objects to standard infrequently access or archive object to glacier. I'll give a note on glacier also. Or even you can delete them if you feel like you don't want to maintain them in the memory, you want to delete the older versions, you can even do that with help of lifecycle. It does have automatically, so no need to log in there and verify which file to move, which file to delete. You can create some rules. These things happen automatically for us. See, for DevOps these things are not at all important, not at all important.
What was the last one? Now we can also remove objects.
Yeah.
Objects.
Yes. Yeah, we can move objects from one storage class. So it will be not to any storage class. We cannot move it to standard, except that we can move it to infrequently accessed, a glacier, or even we can remove that object if you want. Let's say after 30 days, I want to remove my old versions. That can be done automatically with help of lifecycle. So understood the use case? So I'm enabling versioning. The reason is to protect from overwriting a files or deleting a files accidentally. So what I can do is I can maintain that older versions for a period of time, let's say 7 days. After that, I want to remove them automatically. So how that can be achieved? With help of versioning, we can do it. Right. So go there. Lifecycle. Sorry, not versioning. Lifecycle. And in order to use lifecycle rules, versioning must be enabled. Without that, lifecycle rule does not work. So versioning must be enabled. Please keep that in mind. So even if you say add rule, right, it will pop you saying enable versioning if you want to use lifecycle rules. Something wrong. All right. So let's say add a rule. See, you can specify the complete bucket, or you can also say a prefix. So you want to do versioning only for a particular portion of your S3 bucket. Let me say let me say course, or probably you can just leave like this if you want to do it for the complete bucket. Let's do it for complete bucket. So configure a rule. Oh, see this one. So can you see the top one is kind of not in a good state to read. So lifecycle rules will help you to manage your storage cost. So everything is in standard, let's say. So after a few days, I want to move them to some cheap storage classes. So we can use this lifecycle rules for that one. So yeah, whatever we have taken, that's what it says again there. See, there are three options here. So I'm creating a rule for this particular bucket or for a particular folder in the bucket. We have three different rules. The transition to the standard infrequently accessed storage class. Can you see that? I think minimum is 30. I cannot make it kind of 10 probably. Yeah. So minimum is 30 days. You can move your object from standard to infrequently accessed storage class. I'm saying after 30 days. Minimum is 30. You can say 60 days, 90 days, and so on. So after these many days, right, it will be automatically transitioned to that infrequently accessed storage. Let's say after 60 days, I want to move that to the Glacier. So Glacier is again a storage like your S3, but it is very, very, very cheap storage. Fine, very cheap storage, but retrieval will be very, very slow. Even to get a bit, the first byte, first bit from that storage takes 3 to 4 hours. So it's very cheap storage. If you want to retrieve something, it takes lots of time to retrieve it. This is helpful for archival, backup kind of, which is not frequently accessed. Okay, let's say after 60 days, sorry, we can reduce that problem. Let's see that 90 days. Yeah, we can. See the rule. After 30 days, your objects will be transitioned into this infrequently accessed, right? After 60 days, we are moving them into Glacier, a very cheap storage. So after 90 days, we are deleting it. See this one. This is the action on current version. As I said, we have different versions, right? Let's say I have version 1, version 2. So version 2 is latest. So these things happens on version 2. Or the, sorry, maybe one second. Yeah, this is happening on the current version itself. So like this, we can create a rule for current version, or if you want to maintain the latest in the actual storage, you want to move the previous versions to the other storage, that also you can do. So for example, I have a video, training video. I uploaded it today. It's of 1 GB. And after 1 month, there is something new added to the same video. I'm uploading it again. So probably the latest one becomes the latest version, right? So better in this use case, right, we need to create the rules for the older versions. So I can go and delete the older version if required. So always I want to maintain the current version. So probably in that case, don't put rules here. Put rules on the previous versions. That's what I confused. So latest I want still in my standard storage. The previous versions I don't want to maintain in the standard storage. I can remove or I can move them to the different cheap storage classes, or even eventually I can delete them. Let's say after 30 days, the older versions will be coming into infrequently accessed storage class. And let's say after 70 days, I want that to be even in the cheaper storage. Let's say after 90 days, I want to permanently delete it. I can create such rules. Okay, 90 days is minimum here. So in Glacier, 90 days is minimum actually. 90 meaning 90 plus 160. Yeah. And say review. You can give a rule name to identify what exactly it does. And just create this rule. Got it? So like we can add even more rules. Let's say I want to put a rule for folder 1, rule for folder 2, rule for folder 3. Even we can do those rules. We can set those rules there. We can add more rules there. Just say save. Okay. Now we created a lifecycle rule. So after 30 days, the old versions, not the current version, the old versions will be moved into infrequently accessed. After 70 days, it will be in the Glacier. After 70 plus 90, 160 days, it is permanently deleted. Not everything, only the older versions, previous versions, not the current version. That is your life cycle. Using this, we can build our applications in a cost-effective manner. You can save some money also there. So you try those things. I think no need to give notes on this one. Anyways, I gave a couple of points there. That is more than enough for that one. So life cycle. So versioning, life cycle, hosting a static website using S3. Hosting a static website using S3. You cannot put a PHP based applications, you cannot put a Java based applications, but you can put a plain static HTML stuff into that, and it works like your static website. So generally we register with some GoDaddy, correct? Then we buy some space, we deploy our code there, and we get access to the static websites. So instead of that, we also can maintain static websites in S3 directly. So first decide on which bucket you want to convert it as a static website. Let me create a new bucket for this one. So create a bucket. Let me call it as Java Home website. So create it. I want to enable the website hosting. So it's asking for the index document, meaning when I say google.com, what do you get? A default page, right? When I say javahome.com or javahome.in, what I get? A default page. In that website, there might be lots of pages. So it's asking me which page to serve when no resource is mentioned. So I can put anything there. Let's say this is for index. Yeah. How many of you don't know what is that index.html? See this one. Let's say I have javahome.in. That is my website address. In that website, there might be lots of HTML files, right? So I am not saying which HTML file to access. In that case, what it does? It will serve a index.html. Can you see this? So I'm not mentioning that I want this page, but still it is serving that index dot. See the same, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. So when someone is typing only that website URL without mentioning which page to access, tell which page you want to serve, index.html. If there is some error, and tell which document to display when there is any error in your website. And let's say save. Maybe the slash is, we cannot give slash. Can you see the endpoint here? This is the URL of your website. But right now, do we have index.html under this bucket? No, we do not have it. It says something like access denied, all the stuff, because I created a bucket and I turned it as a static website, but nothing is there in that bucket, right? So let me do one thing. Let me put an index.html there, and let me enable permissions also. By default, it is private. So I want to enable it. Just save this file. So I want this as index.html. If you have your website already, you can upload it. But I don't have any website here. Just I'm trying to check how it works. I'm just creating only one file saying index.html. It's there. Upload that file now. So Java Home website, upload. Under this, we have index.html. Open. Say start upload. It's uploaded, and even say make it public. Obviously. But the URL is not exactly like javahome.in. The URL is something like my bucket name dot s3 hyphen website hyphen that maybe the region dot amazon aws.com. So I want to map this with my, let's say, javahome.in. Can I do that? Yes. There is a route 53 concept. Using that, you can have your own domain, map this name generated by AWS with that domain, and the users will just type javahome.in. Internally, it will redirect or it will forward the request to this particular site. Easy, simple. So we can use S3 for hosting static websites, not dynamic one. So if you have a website developed in PHP, .NET, Java, that you cannot do it here. But we can have static websites there. Should I repeat this process one more time? So let me delete it. Java Home website. You can convert any bucket for that matter. See, I want to convert this as a static website. Correct? So enable web hosting, specify what is the index file, what's the error document, and just say save. That's it. Your bucket is converted as a static website. Next one. Logging. 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 See this. If you enable logging, it will keep track who is accessing your bucket, which file they're accessing. So such information will be automatically logged, and you can use it and verify who is accessing that. Correct? So such things can be done with help of logging. You can keep track of each and every request coming to the S3 bucket. Take this point. Using this feature, we can keep track of each and every request. We can keep track of each and every request coming to this bucket. Each and every request coming to this bucket. See this, if I enable it, it will take some time for those things to display. Same, whatever bucket you have, right? Expand this logging, click enable, choose the bucket you want to store the log files. Then if you want to store the log files in the same bucket, let's say, choose the same bucket. So if you want to use a different bucket for logging, you can choose a different bucket there. But in my case, I'm using the same bucket. But I created a folder called as logs, and I want those log files under this folder. Can you see logs there? Yeah, if you open that, can you see all the log files there? What it contains? It contains each and every information about who is accessing and all those things. Open some file and see. Someone tried and it gave access denied. Okay? Yeah, lots of access denieds are there. Let me show something. You. Yeah. So can you see something there? Maybe from this IP address or this timestamp, someone accessed. So we can log. We can keep track of each and every request coming to that bucket. Yeah, that's one thing. There's nothing more to explain. I think we are almost done. And we also have events. Events. Keep a note of it. I'm not going to show the demo on this. Please keep a note on that. So let's say I want to get an email whenever someone uploads a file, or I want to get an email whenever someone deletes a file. So whatever action they perform on the bucket, I want to be notified either by email, SMS, or something else. There is option to configure that also. See this? Events are there. Give some name. Choose for which events you want the notifications. Like put, for post, for copy, after uploading a file, or when deleting a file, or when delete marker is created. See, you know the difference, right? Delete marker meaning the file is there, but it is marked as deleted. But what is delete itself? It's not a marker, it's permanently deleted. And you can say all. All. If you want to get notifications for all, choose all the events there. And again, you can put a prefix. You want notification only for a particular folder in the bucket, you can put a prefix there. Or we can even put a suffix. Let's say I want to get a notification only for MP4 files. I can say dot MP4. See, queuing service, notification service, all such things are there. So we need this topic to be created. I'll be showing those things at some point. So we need this topic to be created. Take that Amazon resource name, put it here and save it. Then you'll get the notifications automatically. So keep that in mind. I'll be showing this one at some point of time. I'll be talking about a simple notification service, simple queuing service, simple email service. Even there is a lambda function. Right now, I don't want to talk about lambda, but that is also an option there. Last one, cross-region replication. Cross-region replication. So when we create a bucket, it is specific to the region. Let's say I want to maintain same bucket, same copy in region 1 as well as region 2. So I can go and enable this cross region replication. How they ask a question is, I have a bucket and its content in region 1. I want to replicate this into some other region. Is there any option to do in S3? Yes, we have an option to do that by enabling cross region replication. And see that it is going to replicate only the future uploads. Let's say I created a cross region replication. At that time, I have 10 objects in my S3. Those 10 objects won't be replicated. So what it does, the replication happens only for the future uploads, not for the existing ones. See this? Which source you want to, for which source you want to enable that cross region replication. You can put a prefix or you can put a bucket name itself, destination region. Let's say I want it in Singapore, one is in US. Let's say I want one more copy in Singapore. There is no bucket in Singapore. I can go and create a one there. Right? And the destination storage class, like I want to save some money, let's say, I can put it in infrequent accessed. Anyways, I have the master copy in standard. Yeah, these things I should discuss. So we need to create IAM role and assign IAM role for that one. But just for now, complete the nodes. Yeah, we can create cross-region replication. What is skill? Server down. See, we need to get this access actually. So we need a replication access. For that, we need to create a role and we need to assign some permissions to that role. You can go with create a new IAM role, view policy document. I'll be showing these things soon. It's a JSON there, some version, the action, get replica configuration. So that permission we're giving, and list bucket permission also we're giving. And what's that? Allow or deny. This is to allow, and for this bucket action. So for this particular bucket, we are giving a replication permission. Just do one thing, just click that and allow, and go on. For now. And same. Your cross region replication is enabled. Go back. Now. Let's upload a file into this. If you go to that region, Singapore region, right? There you must have the copy. Let's switch there and see. Oh, okay. That's not true. Yeah, we got it here. So it's empty, right? Why it is empty? We have some objects in Java Home. Then why it is empty? Only future objects. Let's say I want to upload a file. Let's say I want to upload index.html. Say start upload. Yeah, we uploaded this one in the standard storage class in the Java Home. Go there. Yes, it's replicated. So we are uploading the files only to Java Home. It's automatically replicated to that Singapore region. But see the class. In the Java Home, it is standard. Here it is infrequently access because that is what we selected while creating that cross-region replication. So okay, so we're almost done. The last point. So how objects are stored in S3? They are stored as a key values. Note, if someone know map, or someone knows Java, for them it's easy to understand. So objects are stored as a key and value. Objects are stored as a key and value in S3. Yeah, I want to delete them. So that's all from this side. S3. Let's review that. See, S3 is an object-based storage, highly scalable, who maintains scalability. It's a managed service, right? So cloud does that one. Highly scalable. What is the limit? There is no limit. So what to say? Literally, there is no limit. You can put any amount of data on that one. Because the Amazon is maintaining those drives. They take care. They provide a sufficient memory for everyone there. And what is the size of each and every object we can put? Maximum 5 TB. Object size, I'm not saying bucket size. There is no capacity for a bucket. You can put anything there. But each and every object size must be 5 TB. It cannot be more than 5 TB. So what else we discussed? So by default, any object we upload, right? That is private. But I can mention saying public at the time of uploading, but by default it is private. So I need to enable, I need to make it public if someone else want to access that one. We also have versioning concept. So by default, versioning is disabled. There won't be versioning actually. If I delete a file, the file will be deleted. So we can enable versioning. The reason, if, if accidental overrides, accidental deletes can be restored actually. If I enable a version, even if I override a file, I still have the old version in that bucket and I can restore that version if I want to. If someone deleted, I have the old version of it. So when I delete a file, when versioning is enabled, it puts a delete marker instead of physically deleting that file. Correct? So we also can enable logging. What is that logging? So whatever request coming to your bucket, those things are logged in a log file. You can use it for some XYZ processing if you want. We also can enable events. So when a file is created, I want to trigger an event, or when a file is deleted, I want to trigger an event. We can do that also. Lifecycle. Using lifecycle, we can move files from one storage class to another storage class, or even we can delete. Even we can delete. So we can do this on a current version as well as the previous versions. So cross-region replication. We can create a cross-region replication such that same bucket and the copy is maintained in a different region. So what happens? It won't replicate the existing objects, it only replicates the future uploads. Yeah, we can convert our bucket into a static website also. So if you want to host a static website, yes, you can do that with help of S3. Take one point about Glacier. Glacier is a very cheap storage. Is a very cheap storage. It's mainly used for archivals, backups, etc.
This is not the magnetic storage.
Uh,
We talked about magnetic storage.
yeah, yeah.
Or is it similar?
No, that is EBS, right? We discussed about magnetic and EBS, which is old generation. This might be something different. Yeah, take the next point. So retrieval from this storage is very slow. Very slow. Even to receive a first byte, it might take 4 hours. Even to receive a first byte, it might take 4 hours. Around 4 hours. See this one. In the storage, we have S3 and the other one is Glacier. And see this one. Use this only for infrequently accessed data. See, storage is cheap, but when you retrieve something, they charge for that. They have retrieval charges. Use this storage. Use this storage only for infrequently accessed. Because it is slow to retrieve, it is slow to retrieve, and we do have retrieval charges. So if you want to access it very often, then don't put it in Glacier. So that's about a Glacier. It's a very slow and very cheap storage.
The S3 service is completely free.
No. They charge.
So whatever file that you are now putting into this, you get
Those
charged for that.
no. In free tier, there might be some free space, some 10 GB free kind of. So after that, they will charge. You can check the pricing model there. it will be, I mean, the idea is they're giving a free trial accounts to go and use each and every service, and there will be certain limit on that. If we exceed the limit, they are going to charge. I want to discuss about security and identity, IAM. So identity and access management. Identity and access management, IAM. So there are different use cases for this. So I have AWS account. Let's say I'm a company. I want to give access for different people. I want to create different users who can log into the same account. Instead of everyone maintaining their own accounts, I want access to the same account for different people. That is one use case. What I can do is I can create users like this. There are lots of users there. Yeah, first point. So IAM is all about securing the AWS resources. Identity and access manager is all about securing AWS resources. AWS resources. Like let it be EC2, let it be S3, let it be load balancer, or let it be Glacier, anything we can secure. Yeah. We also can give console access to the different users. So right now, I am the only person I can log into this. Now let's say I want my team to log into my console. I can create users for them and I can provide access to that console. Next point. We can use IAM to create different users and provide access to AWS console. We can use IAM to provide console access to give console access to different users. Different users. See, this is the list actually we should talk about. See, first one says, see, in your account, all these things will be like this, gray or orange. In my case, I did lots of things. That's the reason those things turned into green. One second. Can you see this one? Earlier it was green because I had some uses. Now it is kind of in the orange. See, if I did, there are two groups. If I delete them, this also will turn into orange. So in your case, When you first come to this dashboard, even the first one will be in the orange. So there are two groups. If I delete them again, oh, delete a group, let's say. So there are IAM policies. Okay. See, there are 5 things here. Whatever is in green, it's saying those many out of 5 is complete. So what Amazon says, you always delete the root access because it's dangerous. If you go and check with any Unix, Linux administrators, what they say is don't use root account. So create some administrator account and start using that instead of directly using the root account. That's the best practice people say. Probably you can check with Amiya when he talks about Unix. First, you have to delete this guy. Fine. So first, let's create a user. Creating a user in identity and access management. First, I will show how to log into the console using that user. Let's say that's a name. Can you see this one? There are two options: programmatic access. The other one is AWS management console access. Or actually, you have an option. So you want to auto-generate a password or you want to put a custom password. Let me put a custom password there. If you have these details, you can log into my console actually. So sometime later I'll talk about programmatic access also. I'll give some idea on that. Let's say there is a new guy joined a team. I want to give console access to that guy with certain permissions. I am creating a user and choose what all you want to do there. You want to give programmatic access or console access. You want the password to be auto-generated, a custom password, and see this one. I want the user to provide a new password. So this is kind of, I know, right? I'm administrator. I know the password, let's say. I gave this password to the new user. When he tries to log in first time, it will force him to change because otherwise I can misuse it. I don't want to create a group as of now. I'll talk about groups later. So next, okay, what it says. The user has no permissions. You haven't given this user any permission. This means that the user has no access to. Okay, what it's saying is he can log in probably, but he cannot access the AWS services. That's what it's saying. Maybe here I need to create a group, assign some permissions, and let's do that. AWS, let's say developer group. I want to give administrator access, let's say. Or for now, let me give it as administrator only. So Amazon administrator access. So create a group. I created a group. I'm attaching some permissions to that group. Next review. Yes. The new user, right? He belongs to this guy. I mean this group. This group is associated with some sort of permission and just say create a user. When I tried last time, this was little bit different. The page I'm seeing here is that was little bit different. Okay, success. If you want to send a email, so how to log in, then you can send an email there. Let's say close as of now. Dashboard. Can you see the console here? This is the URL I should share with my new user. So let me open in a different browser because I cannot log in with same browser with two different accounts. Okay, username is Kamana. Password Kamana 123, right? 123. See, there while creating the user, I checked a box saying force him to provide the new password. So I'm going to give a new password here. Oh, okay. Still loading, right? Yeah. Slowly. So one usage of IAM, we can users, we can give access to our AWS console. So this it says Kambanat. I mean the master username is hi.com. I created that account. Now I have one more user created. It also has access to all the resources. I can restrict. I can say I want access only for EC2. I can do that. See, I'm administrator, let's say. You are a developer. You more interact with this compute section. I can attach a policy which gives permission only for this, and you'll be getting access only for that. And you may not be able to access S3, the different stuff there. But right now, the policy attached with this username is administrator. Probably you can go and do anything in this. Right? Same set of permissions there. For for some reasons, I want to disable this user. We can do that also. Only delete is there. Yeah, we can delete the user if you want. see if you want. Okay, that's about a first example. You can create a user. In that process, it's asking for a group, create a group. To that group, attach the policy. Policy is nothing but the permissions. There are lots of AWS resources, right? You decide what permissions you want to give to the new user. So accordingly, attach the permissions and create a user and send an email to that user saying this is your details. You can start using our console. Okay, that is one requirement, one use case. The other use case is, let's say I have EC2 instance. I have S3. So I want S3 to access EC2. Sorry, I have I want EC2 to access S3. Let's say this EC2 has some application, internally it's integrated with S3. Then it cannot directly access. So it doesn't mean everything is in same account, they can access each other. No, it's completely restricted. Say this, what I mean to say is, IAM EC2. Let's say I'm developing a Dropbox kind of application. I have taken account in the cloud. This is my VPC. I have different subnets. I'm not showing the subnets there. Let's say this is my EC2, which is running my Dropbox application. And this internally wants to integrate with, it's not a DB, it's just a storage, S3. Correct? Now, the end users will be using this EC2. Let's say they created an account. They are uploading a file internally where this file is placed on S3. Now, this even though EC2, S3 all belong to same VPC, they cannot access each other until I provide permissions. So if this guy want to use this guy, then I need to assign a role and I need to assign a policy to that role saying give access for S3 like get, put, delete, the different things, right? Then only this guy can access this S3. So one is user login. The other one is one resource is same cloud wants to access the other resource, then we need to provide that permissions actually. Fine? Yeah. That's the second thing. So tomorrow, not tomorrow, Monday. So Monday I'll be talking about one more time users, roles, groups, policies. Even there is a concept called as multi-factor authentication. So I can put two levels of authentication. One, I will enter my password. Next, it will ask me a code which is generated on a hot token. If I enter that code, right, then it will allow us to log in. OT, what is that full form? Kind of, but it's not one-time password. There will be RSA tokens. You'll be given a device which is going to generate random numbers every 30 seconds. It will be generating the random numbers. I need to key in that number. I can show this instead of having that hard token, right? You can have a soft token. So I will download one software onto my mobile, so which is going to work along with this that generates some number randomly. So along with password, I also should provide that random number. It provides very high security. Even if someone know your password, they cannot log in until they key in that random number. Correct, yeah, that's right. There are some RSA tokens generally in the companies. They have soft tokens, hard tokens. We can use both, but I need to buy a hard token. That's not possible. So I will be showing that with a soft token, with a software. Okay, I want to delete this guy. I don't need this fellow. So after that, I'm planning to complete stuff, everything by next Saturday, if not next Sunday, not this Saturday. So by coming Sunday, everything will be over, and let us spend some time to understand the overall picture. So let us take a small application. Let's try to use cloud. Let's try to do our DevOps in that cloud. Everything. Let's apply Chef. Correct. Let's do automatic deployments. Let's do automatic build. Those things in cloud. So let it take some time also. 3-4 days. We will spend time to understand the complete life cycle. Then only this course makes more sense. Okay. No, no. Users are not. No, no. They are free.